The rapid sketch now is finished. Here on the back, you have to work with anatomy on the back, that is conventional anatomy of muscle and bone. So what you're interested in is the angle of the scapular spines coming down here like that, the trapezius coming down to the top of the scapular spine, and then that bottom part of the trapezius coming right down to T12 here. All of these aspects of anatomy become essential. I can't overstate how important it is, because it enables you to quickly put together the way that you suspect that the anatomy will work. Incidentally, even though we're going through all of this as theory, what I would tend to do on pieces like this is get a long way with it, so that I've got the design done, most of the sculpting done, and then get a good model in to actually capture the reality of true physicality, because that way you're not idealizing the human form to the point where it just becomes an anatomical chart. So what I've done is I have marked pretty much where I want all the features to be. The waist is now in position. The legs are looking good to me. It in no way is a rapid sketch a finished thing. It's not a carefully considered thing. It's rapidly sketching out the measurements that bind the proportions in the anatomy that becomes so important. They're more important than anything else. You're wasting your time if you don't get these right first and you really focus on it. So the value of the speed is that speed equals a lack of value. So if this had taken me 4 days to get to this point, it would be incredibly valuable in my mind, and I'm disinclined to do anything about it. So I will not change things. Generally speaking, people fudge it and think that'll be okay, even though they know it's wrong. So with rapidity, you tend not to do that, because there's nothing lost in getting it right. So it's taken me, I don't know, 4 hours to get to this point. If I dropped it on the floor, I'd be pissed off, but I wouldn't be mortally upset by it. I just do it all again. And so I have no or little emotional attachment to this, except for the fact that I think it is good enough. I'm quite excited about carrying on now. And in that carrying on, everything slows down. It's no longer rapid anything. It's considered. And what I'm now doing is not smoothing it out. I'm looking for the contours and the beauty of the anatomical detail that I want to create in this. And that's a really big difference. Anatomical detail as opposed to smoothing out. They're not even remotely related to each other. And with particularly people that are coming into sculpture for the first time, smoothing out is what you think you should do next. What I'm going to be doing is looking for features that I know are there. For example, running down here, I'm not sure that I'll use it, but running down here, right down there to the tibia, like this, is the IT band, the iliotibial band here, or tract. It's there to stabilize the knee, but it's also there to stabilize the vastus lateralis, which is this muscle here, one of the huge muscles on the quadricep group that is bound in place, almost like a strap binding it in place so it doesn't wobble. In certain positions, it will pull inwards and create a slight furrow running down the side of the leg here, like that. So that's what I'm looking for, not necessarily that, I'm just using it as an example, but I'd be looking for the anatomy just here, coming down here, around there, and sweeping into the IT band is a little muscle here. It's not so little, actually. It's just hard to identify unless you really understand what it is. But it's called the tensor fasciae lata muscle. I call it the coffee muscle. Too much coffee makes your face tense, tensor fascia face, lata, coffee. Or TFL, Transport for London. Anything you can think of to make it as ridiculous as possible so that you remember the muscle itself. So students in their first year, if they call it the coffee muscle, that's fine by me. But learning it properly becomes really important. So you tend to see this muscle on athletes that are sprinters. So as they lift their bottom up on the marks, set, you'll see that muscle right there in the crease between gluteus medius and the quadricep group itself, like that. So there is an element now of study, an element of a knowledge, and what you're doing is you're now learning to apply that knowledge. It's like putting it into gear. And that's what I'm going to be doing now. So I'm very excited about it. Once I get to this stage, this is what I live for. This is what sculpture is all about to me. It's about the sculpting aspect of it. But you can understand or begin to understand all the prep that goes before it so that you're preparing yourself for creating the beauty of the leg itself. Here's a good one, for example. Here, I've put the tibia in as a straight line, which you have to when you start the sculpture because it goes onto the armature, and the armature is a straight line going straight down to the foot. The reality of the tibia is it appears to bend like that. It doesn't bend in real life, but it appears to. It appears to bend because of a muscle called tibialis anterior, which is missing here at the moment. And it comes down and it points to the inner ankle. The inner ankle is the tibial ankle, the medial malleolus, and it's the ankle that supports the tibia on top of the foot itself. So all of these things become very important, but it appears to bend as it comes down there, and that bend becomes very beautiful, and it's highlighted here by this lovely bulge on the inside, which is gastrocnemius, like that. Gastrocnemius on a woman tends to be diminutive. So we get gender differences within muscle groups, within bone types. Remember, we're talking about the angle of the rib cage here with the medial angle of the ribs here just underneath the xiphoid process being at 60 degrees as opposed to 90, which is what you'd expect to find in men. Remember, these are rules of thumb, so they are generally true. And but that is all that we need. It gives us a general idea of what's what and what to expect and what to look for and what to include and what not to include, because as you get this knowledge and you expand upon this knowledge, you become cleverer and cleverer at what is in effect, being a magician, you are creating from clay the illusion that this is a human being. And these are the tricks that you use to